What's this tool called? This tool is called a lathe. That's L-A-T-H-E, in case you need to know how to spell it. What does this tool do? This tool turns circular, or better put, cylindrical objects. What are the important parts of this tool? Well, I'm glad you asked, because the important parts of this tool are the headstock, located here, the tailstock, located here. And on the tailstock, you'll find a lever lock here. Unlocking it allows you to move the tailstock closer or further away from the headstock. Also, an important part of this tool is your tool rest. Yes, it is also equipped with two different lever locks. One will orient your lever lock back, forward, side to side, and one will get the height of your tool rest. Also important to this tool are your gouges, which are all the different types of gouges to take away material from your wood once it's on your lathe. Also important to this tool would be your on switch, and right here, the speed control. Left is slower, right is faster. For larger pieces, you're going to use the slower speed because the outer side of the material will be rotating faster per rotation compared to smaller pieces. Those are the important parts of your tool. Alright, before you use this tool, you want to make sure that your material is tightly fastened and it is properly centered here on the lathe. So, you're going to want to make sure you draw your diagonals there from point to point, therefore finding the center of your piece. Then you're going to want to make sure that you get that nice and centered. Once you find that it's centered, you're certain to lock down the lever lock on the tailstock nice and tight. And then start cranking that puppy until you get it locked in. Alright, now my material's tight. Another thing you want to remember before you start this is that your tool rest is not hitting your material when your material spins. You can give it a little practice spin with your hand there. You'll lock down right about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch away from your material. Alright, that looks good. And you want the height of your tool rest to sit right about the center, maybe a little higher than the material itself. Now I've got that in place. I've spun it to make sure that it's not going to hit. And we're ready to go. But there's one more thing that you want to make sure you do before you start. Make sure your chisel's nice and sharp. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a little bit what it is to operate this machine. Alright, expect to get a little dusty. What you need to do after using the tool. Done making your cuts. Alright, we want to make sure we have a nice clean zone for the next person that's coming. Alright, so just give a general sweep up, get the area respectively clean, move things away, put your gouge back, get it cleaned up. Also, after you use the tool, make sure that the tool is off. Sometimes I see people, they feel like they're done and they just leave the machine running. Or perhaps they've taken it out and they think it's funny to leave it running. Let's not do that. Alright, now, also, there are things that you should never do while using this tool. In review, 1, make sure you keep the tool rest away from the material as it's spinning. Never remove this tool rest while the machine is on, either. Alright? I also never want to see you checking measurements while the lathe is on. Alright, so you want to get your calipers out, you want to measure this? That's great. Just make sure that the tool is off. Now, I also want to make sure that when you go to sand your material and your lathe is running, I don't want to see your tool rest right up against your material. The reason for that is you stick your finger on there and for some reason the sandpaper catches a little tight and it drags your finger against this tool rest. The tool rest is pretty sharp itself and it could really take off a lot of skin. It won't be fun. And the last one is, make sure your chisel never leaves the vicinity of the tool rest, because if your gouge, I should say, leaves the tool rest out here, and this material's coming down, it's gonna knock that gouge down into the bed. Maybe it'll fling back at your face. Who knows what'll happen? It could be dangerous. Just make sure you're always using the tool rest and that you're using it appropriately. Two important things to remember now when using this tool is to always move slowly and consistently. Okay, when you saw me doing the demonstration, you might have seen my fingers tight against here, my thumbs holding the pressure, and I'm just moving slowly side to side with the slight bend of my chisel, my gouge right there. Okay? And then also, always make sure that the tool rest stays close to the material. So as you start to cut this down, it will shrink, and therefore you'll need to stop the machine, move the tool rest closer, and start again. Alright, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this presentation on the lathe, L-A-T-H-E.